So next up, we're talking gamification and how it can be used to attract, engage and build loyalty with your audience. Joining us today is the Stonegate Pub Company, who has successfully implemented a gamification strategy to drive footfall and retention. So please welcome to the stage Stephen Cooper, Head of Marketing, Sylvain Lourgouilloux, I knew I'd get it wrong, MD of Lab, and someone else that's not on my list.
Oh, well,
that's really embarrassing. And Becky.
And Becky.
Becky. Oh, damn, nearly there. Welcome.
Don't worry, lovely. Hello everyone, good afternoon. I hope you're having a fabulous afternoon. The sun has come out and it's warmed up a bit. I don't know if anyone's feeling it, but I'm feeling it.
I'm freezing. I've been cold.
You're still cold. I'm warming up. So yeah. Anyway, I'm Becky Sims. I'm one of the directors at Lab. Lab is part of the Human First Collective, and I'm also one of the founders of that. I'm here with Sylvain, as we mentioned. I'm going to let Sylvain do a quick intro to Lab. So over to you, Sylvain.
Thank you. So Lab is a tech and innovation agency. We combine behavior-led thinking with human-first technology. Our primary objective is to help customers to grow, customers and money as well.
Perfect. And we're also joined by Stephen Cooper. So Stephen, you are Head of Marketing on the sports side of Stonegate, is that correct?
Yes, I'm the Head of Marketing of sports brands within Stonegate. So my role looks at looking after the brand strategy and the marketing strategy of all of our brands that sort of drive sports sales. So very important right now with the Euros on, but also the overall sports strategy and how we drive people into our pubs, but also drive experience during sports events.
Perfect. And for anyone that doesn't know, Stonegate, I mean, everyone will know who Stonegate is without knowing it, because you're lots of different brands.
Yeah, we're the UK's biggest pub company. So we operate in England, Scotland and Wales. We have some well-known brands, Slug and Lettuce, Walkabout, Sports Bar and Grill, Pop World. So we're a very diverse business that operates in lots of areas of the on-trade industry. So lots of different pubs to visit.
I'm sure we've all enjoyed a drink in at least one of those establishments in our time, and we'll continue to do so. So we're talking gamification. We've got a couple of slides to start us off, which Sylvain and I are going to walk you through, and then we're going to go into a bit of Q&A with Stephen. So what do we mean when we talk about gamification? Well, gamification is about taking elements of gameplay and bringing them into your strategy. So it's looking at how you can attract, engage, and retain your target audience, whoever they may be. Now, question for the room. Who in the room is using gamification currently in their marketing strategy? Well, there's a few hands, but there's a few of you that aren't, which is amazing, because this is hopefully going to give you the confidence and some ideas of how you can go and take gamification and start to use it. So we find that gamification supercharges many different aspects of strategy, and I'm going to give you headlines on those, and Sylvain's going to show you a couple of examples. So first of all, customer acquisition. Now, we're all in the business of wanting to acquire more customers, and it's noisier and noisier than it's ever been online, which makes it really tricky sometimes to stand out from that noise. But if you can create an experience where you can engage your audience by doing something fun, creating a memorable moment. If anyone's been to our stand or our picnic table today, we're creating memorable moments there for you. And if you haven't, you should pop by. We've got a magician joining us today. But memories are created when we feel something. So actually, if we can create an experience whereby people feel something, then they're much more likely to remember us over our competitors. So it's really important for customer acquisition when you're in a noisy, busy space to stand out. And that's exactly what we did for Coca-Cola.
Yeah, exactly. So all the games we're going to show with today are obviously in collaboration with Stonegate, so that will give a really nice context when we go into the Q&A. This is one of the classic air hockey, so the idea was you can play against CPU. If you win, you get points, and then you have a chance to get a scratch card. So very good two classics together. Within 3 weeks, we had 15,000 plays, so a really great way to engage and acquire new customers in a fun way.
We've also got this one live on our stand, so if you want to play it, it's really hard, and I'm really struggling, so come and have a go. There's then the engagement side, so it's not enough to just win a new customer and hope they stay a customer. We want to think about how we can continue to engage them. So thinking about how we can leverage behavioral science and psychology in different areas of gameplay, whether it's the competitive side of it, whether it's having a leaderboard where they can see whether they're winning, whether it's the achievement that they have won and they've got some kind of badge, or they can level up and get to do something else that they couldn't do before. The reward side of it, there's so many different ways we can bake human behavior and things that motivate us as individuals into playing games that can help us engage our audience in a fun way, rather than just sending them a sales message saying buy more stuff, because we're all fed up with seeing emails that say buy more stuff. It's not that exciting. And again, this is exactly what we did with Slug and Lettuce.
I think biggest campaign we've ever done together, really. We took the classic of physical crackers and decided to do digital. So the idea was you go in a pub and you find someone in a room or within a table and you do the cracker clash. The idea, if you win the cracker, you collect a collectible, and then at the end of the week, you could enter into a prize draw. So really good way, engaging, bring some competition with friends, but also gather a lot of extra information and data about each person playing it.
Amazing. And this did really show how you can bring that physical and digital together, because this can fit in a completely digital experience, but also in a setting within a pub where actually getting different people to play together. So then this is where the magic starts to happen. This is the exciting stuff, because to me, data is one of the most critical currencies that any brand has today. If you can know your audience and know more about them, and then it's not just knowing it, it's then doing something about it and communicating with them in the right way once you have that information, you are onto a winner of building better relationships with your audience. So through gamification, we can get people to feel comfortable to share their details with us, because they might want to save their progress. They might want to put their details in because they want to win the prize, they want to be on the leaderboard, whatever it might be. But we can also create opportunities whereby maybe they've run out of time and they haven't quite completed it. Well, we can ask them, well, would you like another 20 seconds if you answer this question, and we can gather more data. And actually there's some kind of value exchange happening there where they feel comfortable to tell us more information that previously otherwise, if you just said fill this form in, they might not have wanted to. So it's an amazing way to gather that data and to power your CRM. But then you do need to use it, because I think that's something that we are seeing. Some brands are collecting data, but then not personalizing information enough, and I think that can then start to turn customers off. So getting the output right is important.
And that's exactly what we've done. I mean, all the games we do with Stonegate, on most of our clients, we will actually have the zero-party data strategy, because this is the beauty of it. With this specific game, over 5,000 layers of extra information. So that means what's my favorite sports, club, drinks, my favorite venue, and that allows to really segment each of your customers. So when the Euro starts, we can be really targeted on, hey, you support France, you like Guinness, come to our pub and enjoy maybe a free voucher.
Definitely. We've also done this in other ways. We're using psychology-based games to learn about audiences, to try and find out what motivates them, and then using that as well. Like, there's so many different things if you can learn about your audience that you can use to personalize. And I guess the golden nugget that we're all trying to get towards is increasing that retention and trying to increase sales. And that's, again, exactly what gamification can help us do, because we're creating a moment. We're not trying to sell. We're not talking about our brand. We might subtly have our brand as part of the game, and that can sometimes not be that subtle. It can be the real forefront of the game, but still they're having fun with your brand as opposed to feeling like they're just being sold to. And you help keep them top of mind, because as I said, to create memories, we need to create feelings. So if they're having fun, it's a brilliant, brilliant exchange.
And the games don't need to be complex. This one was really simple. On this, sometimes simplicity works. Little quiz, what type of cocktail would you like to drink? We then go through recommendation, and then you go spin the wheel. But what's important is the redemption. So this specific game, we are about 60% of people who want a voucher actually will go back to the venue and use it. And yeah, so far so good, I think, with this campaign.
Yeah. Amazing. So let's go over to the Q&A. So Stephen, what would you say are the most key, most important elements of a gamification strategy?
So I think first of all it's understanding what the purpose of that piece of gamification is, beginning with the end in mind. I think it's quite easy to see a competitor or another industry using gamification for their advantage and then getting a bit excited by it and thinking, I need to do that. But most importantly, it's got to be a tactic within your marketing strategy that's going to get to an end goal that you want to achieve. As you can see from the examples you presented, we've used gamification in lots of different ways to fulfill different needs. But really, the core need in all of our gamification we do is all about building that zero-party data, and then how we use that zero-party data after that, once we've engaged that potential customer in our brand and format. And we've done lots of stuff with Sylvain in terms of understanding different ways we can do that and different ways we can perform successes with it.
Yeah, and I think what's been really interesting is every time we talk to a brand, so we had Coke, Heineken, Molson Coors, they all got their own branding, their own challenges working with you. So I was trying to go back to always the why. I think you made a good point. Is doing a game is easy, but understanding really why we're doing it and what the end goal is key. And zero-party data is, I think, not enough people talking about it these days. They all talk about first-party data, first name, last name, email address, but the sentiments and the behavior is what will really allow you to connect with the customer.
I think for us, especially within my role to look after sport, as I mentioned, the pub environment is a very diverse area, so you've got people coming in for all different occasions for those pub doors. So it's quite hard using our sort of standard CRM practices to understand who our sports customers are. When we introduce some level of sport gamification, we can really engage with that sports fanatic, understand who our sports fans are, and like Sylvain mentioned, then start understanding who that sports fan supports, and really getting some targeted sort of messages to those customers to get them back in the pub and re-engage with them. And we've seen sort of really high opt-in rates of when we've introduced someone through our database through gamification in terms of future open rates and visits to the pub.
Amazing. So I think the thing that I've taken away from that is not to go, I've got to go and make a game, but it's to look at what's the challenge, what are we trying to do internally, what's important to us, and then would gamification help fix that?
Yeah, and who's the audience? Like, games won't work for everyone. Like, you've got some either industries or type of customers, they won't really need that. So I think the recommendation, if you want to start gamification, test it, start small. You don't need to go for the biggest game in the world, like try it, and then learn from that, and then really build up. This is how, nearly 3 years, we've done a quite easy, simplified game, and now what we are doing is really complex.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. What would you say the most important metrics are when you're thinking about gamification and reporting internally on what's working?
So the thing I love about gamification is the amount of insight you can get from a particular game, depending on how you built it. Like for me, the 3 core metrics to measure is your open rate, because if you're not getting a high open rate, then there's a problem. How many people are then completing the game, so going through the whole journey, and then looking at the opt-in percentage, because if that opt-in percentage is not very high, you may as well do something else, just a sign-up form. And what we've seen through gamification is really high opt-in rates. I think you showed some examples there.
Yeah, we're about an average of 50% opted-in rate. Like, again, getting people to sign up is one thing, but opted into GDPR, that's another thing. That means you can actually use them for pure marketing. On an average, around 50%. And again, this is what gamification can really allow you to get to that sort of number.
Definitely. What challenges did you face bringing it in internally or setting it up?
So I think the challenges, the tech side is quite complicated, and you need someone like Sylvain or yourselves in terms of understanding how you integrate into your CRM system, so all the data's got to flow through nice and smoothly so you can reuse it. I think from a marketing point of view, from a personal side, the biggest challenge I faced was actually getting that people open rate into the game. And I think when we first started out a number of years ago, we focused so much on building the game, and actually the whole marketing and advertising strategy was almost a second thought. But that is just as important as actually building the game, because that's what drives the return of investment. That's what gets people in top of the game and then through the funnel.
Definitely, and having those kind of multiple touch points to try and get it in front of the right audience.
And they all connect, like having the right ecosystem where they play, then you can start to remarket them. They can go back to something else, they can bring them back to your paid social. Like, you can really look at what is the customer journey, at what point gamification is, and then make sure you then reconnect with that user when you know they have played.
Amazing. So then final question, based on your experience and based on the fact that there were quite a few people that didn't have their hand up earlier that are currently using gamification, what would be your top tips if they're thinking about bringing it into their strategy? What should they be thinking about?
So I think it's understanding what you want to achieve from gamification. As we mentioned, I think you showed loads of examples in terms of everything's zero-party data, but actually each game has its own individual purpose outside of that in terms of either driving guest engagement, atmosphere, new product development. So it's understanding what that is. It's finding a trustworthy partner that can take you on that journey and give you the knowledge in terms of how you get to your objective in terms of that gamification piece. And then ultimately it's keeping it simple. Like, you're not building the next PlayStation game, you're building a piece of a game that will engage a user for 30 seconds to 1 minute, and that will get you into the brand, and it's just got to keep it simple.
Definitely. Any other thoughts?
And be able to reuse it will be interesting. So whatever you do, if you can make it yours, but can you recycle it for others, will be really interesting, because, you know, you can get some cheap-ish product, but if you can reuse that for another campaign or because again, test and learn was something we really believe. Like, you won't never ever get a game 100% right, but what are the learnings, what are the things you could do better and stronger for the next campaign? That's definitely the recommendation.
Perfect. Amazing. So actually my colleague is going to be standing at the end. She's waving at us now. Give us another wave, so she's got some of our nudge cards. So if you haven't been to our stand, we've got some behavioural nudge cards to help give you some ideas. You've got a teaser packs, a few of them. If you scan the QR code either on screen or on the nudge cards, you can book a follow-up with us and we'll send you a full pack. And they're basically just your creative juice. You can use them internally to come up with ideas and look at how you might be able to use behavioural ideas within your marketing strategy. And then finally, I didn't want to litter your LinkedIn with everyone, so Stephen, I've left you out of this, but Sylvain and myself, there's our LinkedIn profiles if you want to connect with us. But hopefully you found that interesting. Our stand or our picnic table is over the back here, and as I said, we've got some magic happening over there, and he may even be at the back giving us a bit of a show as you leave. But yeah, we've got a magician having some fun, so thank you for joining us, and we look forward to catching up with you afterwards. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you both so much.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you, Steve and Sylvain and Becky, for that great talk.